All right, what's up, guys? It's Will here with King's Cards again. So yesterday I went to the regional down in Bainbridge, Georgia. I ended up getting fifth place. A little bit sad because I was one spot off from top four. But I played the Voiceless Voice deck opening weekend of Phantom Nightmare. I thought this deck was really powerful into the meta currently, like just on opening weekend. And the deck performed really, really well. My matchups yesterday, round one, I played against Snake Eye Fire Kings. I got that one 2-0. I lost the die roll for that one as well. Round two, I lost the die roll again playing against Snake Eye Fire Kings, 2-0'd that one. Round three, I played the mirror match. I lost the die roll to that one, and I got that one 2-1. Round four, I played against Snake Eye Fire Kings again. I lost the die roll, and then I ended up losing that one 1-2. Game three, he put up a really, really good board going second. I had nothing but engine to help me break through, and then he drolled me, and it was over from there. But he's a really good player, really talented player. I'm glad to see that he still made top as well. Round five, I played against Kashtira. I got that one 2-1. Also, that is something that I do want to show towards the end of this video, is that like people think that this deck can't play under like Shifter, DDG, Di-Fi. I'll show you like the combo that I did against Kashtira when I got shifted in game three and how I still put up my full board. And it like the shifter just didn't even matter. Round six, I played against Tier. I won the die roll there, and then I got that one 2-1. And then round seven, I played against Branded, and I got that one 2-0. So good record, 6-1. Not a whole lot of die roll wins, which is pretty on par for my tournament experiences. I had a really good time at the regional, and I also will discuss like some of the changes I want to make to the deck while we're going through here. And then because the list that this is that I actually played at the regional, I decided on this Friday night right before the regional that I wasn't gonna play the original list that I had, and I'm glad I didn't play that one because I thought it would have been like pretty bad into everything that I played. But we'll just go ahead and get into the deck. So for the engine pieces, first it's 3 copies of Low. This is the best 1-card starter in the deck. This 1-card starter doesn't lose like as hard to Ash as like Diviner does. And then, as I said, 3 Diviner, 1 Trius. I had even thought about bumping this up to more because it's kind of like a pseudo enemy controller. It helps you dodge like imperms, veilers on the Diviners and everything like that, and also on Low. But this card at 1 is just fine. If I wanted something like that, I would just play actual enemy controller and use it as like a snatch steal. But these cards, like this is like standard for the engine, right? And then triple Saphira. One thing that I noticed is that like I guess this was something that people had just learned from this deck, was that like this card is always the Ash and the Bell target. If you have Ash or Bell, you're gonna like Ash or Bell this. And I would literally have people who would let me resolve pre-prep, and then they would just Ash or Bell this when they know that I already, like, well, I don't know if they knew it, but I just have full combo in hand regardless if they Ash or Bell this. It just did not matter at all. But this card is like really, really incredible. I wish it was 1 level higher because, you know, that would make the deck function like so smooth if this card was a 7 and not a 6. But either way, I'm not going to be picky about like the way that the deck is built. Then I played 1 copy of Saravis. This card is absolutely incredible. This card just helps you grind so much, putting your ritual spells back into the deck, summon him back out, and then this being able to trigger proc into a Skull Guardian, proc into a Saravis. So this card's like super, super powerful. I even thought about playing more than one of this, but it's not a card that I ever really want to like open with. Then 2 copies of Skull Guardian. This card's fantastic. The deck's built around this card. So many people just didn't know how to play around this deck. Also, one thing that I noticed was that like there's a pretense that Super Poly is really good against this deck. And I'll show you towards the end of this video why Super Poly is not good against this deck, because I got Super Poly'd like 4 times yesterday and it just never mattered, because if you, like I said, I'll show you when we get there. Then 2 copies of Saravis. I didn't play Auto Pendulum Graph Dragon, so I played 2 of this. I'm seriously considering bumping this card up to 3 because this card going into Imperms, Veilers, Prometheans, like this card is just absolutely insane into anything that targets your monsters. So this card just has like such great utility. I really like it a lot. So that's it for the monster part of the engine. Spells, Triple Prosperity. This deck doesn't get hindered by Prosby at all. Like, you don't really draw cards like that, so Prosby, if your deck can play it, you should be playing it. Triple copies of pre-prep. This card's absolutely bananas. Like I said, like it still blows my mind that people would let this resolve and then they would just go and Bell Saphira. Like, that blows my mind that people would do that. Same thing with this card. When I'm playing the mirror, if somebody activates this card, I'm always interacting with it, always, because I cannot let that card resolve. Triple barrier. This card's insane. Card stops your monsters from being targeted. The other thing that came up with this, and it came up a lot, was that like I would put up like SP and then Skull Guardian and then low. I would have this face up on the field, and like the SP would be like a problem for them, so they would just try to go to battle and try to beat over it. They would get a battle phase, and I'd be like, no, you can't attack the SP, because this one, like, it only protects your light monsters from targeting, but it makes it where none of your monsters can be targeted for attacks except for ritual monsters. They can't like just go to battle phase and beat the SP, so this card's like super strong. 2 copies of prayers. This card at 2, like you cannot play this card at 1. Like the deck literally just does not function with this card at 1. You have to play 2 of it. Like I've even considered playing 3 of it, because it is like another way that you can beat draw, is just like max this card out, and it gives your deck like so much grind game. Because you just need your Sephiras to resolve like late game, like mid to late game, for this deck to like keep going, keep its engine up and everything. The graveyard effect on this is just absolutely insane. It's how you beat Super Poly. And then 1 copy of Radiance. This card is also just absolutely bananas. I've been testing this deck for about a month and a half on Dueling Book, and this card has just always been such an MVP for the deck. Like it's not even the pop effect; it's just the E-Telly from the deck by putting your ritual spells back, which is like this card. Honestly, it didn't even have to be an E-Telly. Just like putting these cards back, putting your ritual monsters back, is just absolutely insane. But the pop effect of this does come up after you've already E-Tellied like 3 or 4 times. So that's it for the engine. So for the non-engine, and this is where like I kind of went different from my Friday list, because I was just going to play like Branded Fusions, Nadir Servants, and everything like that, because I just thought those cards were a little better into the fire decks. But I'm glad that I ended up playing the hand traps that I did. I played Triple Droll. This card's actually pretty mid against like everything. Like I think it's mid against the Voiceless deck, because like 50% of the time you can draw them and it like just stops their turn completely. The other 50% of the time it does absolutely nothing. And it's like the same thing for the fire decks. Like if they start Bonfire and then you draw them there, you're good. If they start Ash and they go normal summon Ash and then you draw them on res, they go Populous Effect 1 to summon, you go draw Channeling 2, it just does not feel good at all. And then I played Triple Ash. This was like super controversial, but I really wanted this card just because like it's a regionals, and like at a rogue scene, I think like with other like rogue decks coming in and like anything that's not fire, this card is still just really good against. Glad I had it there. It like helped me out in a lot of matchups. Triple Nib. I remember yesterday, I think it was after like round 6, I told one of my buddies that this card, like Nib, could be a vanilla monster, it could have no effect, and I would still play this card at 3 just because it's a light monster that's high level, and you can just use it for your ritual summons in a pinch. But no, this card was absolutely insane yesterday. I do think that Nib's a hand trap of the format. 1 copy of Called By. This card, like right now, into the fire decks is good going first, is good going second. Being able to hit the Garunics out of the graveyard so they don't get like the additional like pop off of the Kieran, and then like if they bring the Arvada back from the grave off of that, then you stop like so many interruptions with this on Garunics. And then I played Triple Imperm. The Ash and the Imperm were all right. They're like very 1-for-1 trade, and that's the only like problem with this deck is that like, so when you're not playing the power spell version, when you play the power spell version of this deck, it makes going second into the fire decks a lot easier, but it doesn't make going first into the fire decks that much easier. Like the fire decks are just going to gash you out either way around. You just have to like hope that you can hang in there, because you need to see the nibs, you need to see the draws, and that's how your deck is just kind of like going to play into those. But I am going to test out the power spell version a little more. I just really wanted to play like the I think it's 13 pieces of non-engine. I wanted to try that out yesterday. It worked out great for me, because like I said, you're not going to be playing against fire decks every single round, but all those hand traps except for Nib and like half of the draws, because like I said, draws only like good 50% of the time into the Voiceless deck. That's like, those cards are good into like the mirror match, they're good into like any other decks that are just kind of hanging out around there. For the extra deck actually does matter for this. I don't know, people got like the assumption that the extra deck is just kind of free in here, but it's not. Like it's actually really, really tight. I played 1 Link Karibo. This is mainly here to proc SP. Then 1 Anima. This is also here to proc SP, but the thing with Anima is that you can't really get a monster that's above like 4100 attack in this deck. So like clearing a big Nib token, you just have to have this card to clear a big Nib token. I did it like 3 times yesterday. So that's it for the Link 1s. Link 2s, double Dynamondo. I want to play 3 of this. And so here's the thing, and like I'll explain this when we get into the like how I played the deck yesterday and whatnot, but I never make this card turn 0 ever. I don't care if it's game 1, game 2, game 3. Like the only time that I'll make this to like bring a ritual back from grave during my opponent's turn is when I'm in late game and I know that there is no chance of them having a card that can interact with this. I did end up losing a game yesterday because somebody called by this in the late game because I top decked it, and I was just like, and that it just cost me the entire game. But this card, when you summon it, you just target a ritual monster in your grave and then a card on their side of the field and shuffle both of them into the deck, so it like brings your resources back. But no, I really dislike that card for people making that on like turn 0. Like if you make this turn 0, you have no way to beat Super Poly. One copy of Dark. This is just another thing that you can abuse with like the Linkuriboh and the Animo to go into this and then get some resources out of the grave and push. I did it against Cash yesterday. I made this to take a shifter because I was missing like 1,200 points of damage per game, and I just summoned a shifter back and attacked for game. 1 SP. Its SP is like best extra deck card in the game right now. 1 Unicorn. I wanted to play a Link 3 that was removal and also was like a little bit of a body on itself, and Unicorn, which is really good. Once you get your engine going, you have like endless cards in hand that you can just pitch for this, and you don't need every single card in your hand all the time. So this card came up really well. 1 BLS Soldier of Chaos. This card is absolutely insane in this deck. I made this like 4 or 5 times yesterday, and every time that I made this, I would make it in situations where I know that the deck that I'm playing against doesn't have an out to this. Like Cash does not have an out to this. It's so hard for them to out this card, especially when you make it with Skull Guardian. It can be targeted, destroyed by card effects. You get a banish every time you destroy something by battle, or you can increase his attack by 1,500, and then he's like a 4,500 body that can be targeted, destroyed by card effects. So that card's really, really good in this deck. 1 Underworld Goddess. I didn't make this at all yesterday. I think this is kind of like my scared choice in the extra deck because I don't want to get caught slipping like against Pearly or something and have no outs to a Noir. I don't want to get caught up against like just other random rogue decks that put up big monsters that I can't out, and then I just don't have this card. So that's it for the links. Fusions, 1 NTS. You send this off the Diviner. If you have the Trias in hand, you can send this going second. It's really powerful. 1 Mud Dragon, super poly target, super poly target, super poly target. I'll talk about this one because this one's not like super standard, but I wanted to play this because I thought that Branded would be a deck that was actually like a wee bit popular. And Branded, like nothing in the Branded deck target, so I didn't think that like going Mud Dragon into their board would have been very good, but this was like pretty decent going into their board because you just put up a body that's going to get like big as all get out, and you can just like OTK them at that point. 1 Herald of the Arclight, and then 1 Sky Crisis. This was a card that I never made yesterday. I do think this card is like mandatory in any deck that can make this, and it's reasonable to play it in. Just because that card is just your second chance to win. This card, I never sent this off a Diviner yesterday. I don't even really know how much I like this card. When I played against the Branded player, he went Maximus for both of us to send 2, and I just sent these 2, use the NTS, pop his Mirror Jade Garura, draw 1. And I didn't even think about sending that because like I would just rather, at that point, looking at my hand, I would have rather had a draw than adding like Sarava's Skull Guardian or Ritual Spell. So that's it for the extra deck. Side deck was Triple Bell. Bell is absolutely incredible into the format. I think it does something to like every single deck. This card and the Cosmics were like the most sided cards in my entire extra deck yesterday. I think like Bell is just so powerful. I'm even considering like cutting the Drolls out of the main deck and putting the Bells in the main deck for the Drolls. But I'll have to look and test a little bit more. Triple Phantasme. I cited this card in a lot. I just never saw it yesterday. And if I had seen it, I think this card would have been really good into a lot of situations. But like I said, I just never saw it. So it never came up. So that's it for the monsters. Triple Super Poly. I think this is like the defining card of the format. I think this card is just absolutely bonkers. I resolved this card only once. Like I sided it in a lot. I only saw it once against the Mirror, and it just helped me blow the Mirror out because he did the Dynamondo play turn 0, and he just played right into a Super Poly. And then Triple Cosmic. So this card was probably the best card in my side deck all day yesterday. And which seems so silly because like just a 1-for-1 trade card would just be that powerful, but this card absolutely carried me against tier, banishing Scream, banishing King Sark, like, but this card was just so good. And then Flood of Choice was Summon Limit. I think I'm going to take this out. The only thing that I didn't like about this card was that, like, it only came up, like, once or twice, and it didn't really like do that much. I think that was like the story of my side deck yesterday, though, is that like I just never really saw my side deck pieces that often. But then again, I didn't really go first that often yesterday that much, so like I don't think this card had like too much time to shine. But I would really like for this card to be like Di-Fi, maybe different dimension grounds. But Di-Fi seems a little better at the point because like those hands that I do lose to draw, I can just activate Di-Fi and like be fine with it. But then again, I have to like know that I have the hand to play around with Di-Fi. So I think different dimension grounds is going to be the way that I'm going to start looking with this deck. So that's main side and extra. So I do want to show one thing, because I saw this so much yesterday, just looking at all the voiceless players that were playing was, so the standard combo is that you normal summon the low, you go low effect, you place the barrier effect to search, you go grab the Saphira, and then you go Saphira effect, you go dump the prayers, and then you add Skull Guardian. Okay, so you're at this point, right? You go the Saphira effect, you banish her for cost, and then you tribute the low, you go Skull. If they didn't Ash or Bell this, then I think it's pretty safe to say that they don't have either of them, but even if that's the point, I'm always going to go low Chain Link 1, this Chain Link 2, because whatever you're searching off of this is going to be nothing but follow-up. And if they stop this, you have this for follow-up, right? So this should always be Chain Link 1 because you need this to come back from the grave. So you summon that, and then this effect, if that resolves, we'll just assume that it's not going to. So here's the thing, is that if you link these two off for Dynamondo, and you pass turn on that in draw phase, right? Say they hit Bell off the top effect. Target this to summon. If they Bell that, you just got cooked, right? Like, you're losing to so many simple cards. I think just about everybody is main decking Called By as well. And I know it's a one-of, but it's something that I am not willing to risk. But, like, say we did our turn 1 combo, right? And you do the Dynamondo play. Say they don't have an interaction with it. You go summon, effective low, summon this out. Effective low, go grab the Radiance. Okay. So now you have the Radiance on the field. If they super poly you here, you go these two, and then they make mud, right? So then you can go Prayers effect, banish this. You can go summon another copy of Skull Guardian. And then you can go Radiance effect, shuffle back the Guardian, and then just go summon another low. And you've kind of beat the super poly at that point, right? And you can even do that like through the Dynamondo, but I think it's a little better like post side to just end here, right? Don't make the Dynamondo at all. I think it's just a little better to like leave it at this, because if you get super polyed on this, then you can go these two, you banish the Prayers, and then you go summon Skull, low effect, place this. So then you don't have to use this to summon out, so it still gives you, it basically makes their super poly a +1 for you, because the only thing that you're getting off of that is the Radiance. So you still have your negation. You can use this as a pop, because that's the thing with this deck, is that like one Omni Negate is never going to be enough. You're always going to need more than that. Even though like they can't target it, they just have to have like a weak hand, and I'm sorry, the Fire deck's hands are never just like super weak. And then kind of like yesterday, the other thing I wanted to mention was like how I played around Shifter in game 3 against Cash. So he shifted me, and then I had these two cards in hand. You go pre-prep, you're gonna add Prayers, Skull Guardian, and then you go, so imagine this is banish. You go activate Prayers with the nib, and then you go summon the Skull Guardian. This will get banished. Skull effect, add low, normal the low, go place the barrier effect, go add the Radiance, set it, and then pass. And then that's how I like just completely played around the Shifter, and Cash just did not have a way to play around this. Like Cash has like a difficult time playing around this in general, especially if you did this under Shifter, which they were expecting that was going to happen, but now they just can't target these two. You have the pop off of this, you have the Omni Negate off of this, and yeah, it's just really, really crazy. So that is the list that I played yesterday. If you guys have any comments, you can leave them down below. I'm always open for criticism and everything like that. If you like the deck, give the video a like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.